Right. Hello, welcome to the 77th Special Moves podcast. Just as Jake is having a sip of, what was that, Jake?
Rockstar Punched Energy. Other soft drinks are available.
I've been getting on the energy drinks this week as well. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. So
bad. It's fucking bad. Nearly 30 years old. Haven't had energy drinks since I was about 18. Unironically buying them. I bought one as like a... I don't know what it was. I think it was because it was like 40 pence in Asda. And then, like, I don't know. Now I'm on 1 or 2 cans a week, boys. I've got to tell you.
Yeah, it's bad.
Is it because of these?
There's something about Call of Duty that goes with it.
Is it because of these uncertain times we live in that you've both regressed to like a teenage state when the world was safe and good?
Well, I do want to say that there is a direct correlation between my energy drink consumption and my enjoyment of Call of Duty. That can only be likened to that. And also, like, I'm burning through my expensive coffee like no tomorrow. Like, I'm drinking it at 3 times the rate I normally am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I normally get 1 bag a month, so now I'm getting 3. I'm spending like...
Why is that, though? You work at home anyway.
I know, but it's like because this is... And it sounds mean, but because the kids are home, I need energy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And my youngest has just started waking up at like 6:30, 7, where normally she sleeps until like 9. So like I'm like, whoa, better drink that. Yeah.
Times are tough, aren't they?
The times are tough. The times are tough all around, guys.
Yeah.
But here we are again for another stay-at-home special.
Mm-hmm.
I really should have looked at that, man. For everyone watching, I'm really sorry. Listening and forget about it. That's a sweatshirt. That's a blanket just thrown around, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's at home. As you can tell,
it's just a downward trajectory now. It started off all right, like we were pretty chipper and that, and then it's like a few weeks in, and it's just kind of a slide. Since
that fucking computer game show lawsuit, I've been shaken. I've not been the same.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was funny. That was a funny thing on Twitter.
That was this week, wasn't it? Jesus Christ!
It was literally a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was.
Are we going to go into it?
Huh?
Are we going to go into it?
Well, we're obviously still here in it. Yeah, as if a podcast would sue another podcast anyway.
Yeah, it's bit of banter.
It's just. Yeah, 90% of podcasts
are just white guys why are we talking about
and going? And this is no different. So yeah, that other podcast. Don't want to say their name in case
it comes up in court, in case it's raised during proceedings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just want to say. I just want to send a manly nod in that direction. But yeah, other than that, boys, I've only played like one, what you'd say, new game. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's been Call of Duty and Legends of Runeterra in preparation for the launch.
I've not played anything except Call of Duty. That's all I've done.
I played Final Fantasy VII again. That was it for the Platinum Trophy.
Yeah, you've platinumed 2 Final Fantasies this week.
I did. Cause after getting the Platinum on Final Fantasy VII Remake, I remembered I only had like 4 trophies left in Final Fantasy 15. So I dug that out, reinstalled it on the PS4, and just like did a bit of fishing, took some selfies with Prompto, and that was that. Platinum trophy done. It took
Living the dream, man.
Barely took any time at all. And I'm not going to make it a tradition. I'm not going to go through every Final Fantasy game getting the Platinum.
Surely you're a bit tempted.
It would take years.
Took you a week to do 2, right? So, but think about it.
One was I'd already played that game through, and Final Fantasy VII was a new game, so I had that motivation.
Can you even get all the Final Fantasies on one platform? I don't think you can you? You can't. Well, we certainly can't get 11 on the PS4, but
I think from 7 onwards you can get on PS4.
Oh,
so
right.
7, 8, and 9.
But people really put a lot of love and. Oh, sorry, Liam. There's a bit of lag there, so I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say 7, 8, and 9 are on PS4. 10, 10, 2 are. Actually, no. Final Fantasy 13. That's not on PS4, but it's on PS3, and it did have trophies, so you can do it technically. But yeah,
okay.
I think. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the early Final Fantasy games are sort of like left to just. To time, I guess. That's
quite frustrating because that means that the power of the people on forums that say that Final Fantasy VI is the best one, their power just goes stronger, and there's no one to contest it. No one that plays it and goes, actually, it is good, but do you know what I mean? Everyone just got to go, yeah, sure.
Unless you want to.
It's like the people that say Demon Souls are the best. You just go, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to like dig out a PSP or something and then download the PS1 version, even though I'm pretty sure the PSP store has been closed for a long time now, so you can't even do that. But
it's kind of weird that a series so popular then doesn't have all of its installments on one platform. Just I don't know why. I just kind of.
I think you can get them on mobile actually, on Android and iOS, but they're questionable ports at best. Like they're not the best way to play them.
I did see this. I don't know if you guys saw the same thing, but maybe not. People listening probably would have seen it though. Like I've been watching a lot of streamers and YouTube people saying it's their first Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was thinking, God, like where would you tell them to start? Like, you know, a lot of people would say 6. A lot of people would say
6 is got to be one of the worst places to start. You can't kick them all the way back there.
well, you know.
Do you know what I would say? Truthfully, I would recommend as a starting 10, right? I think it's not too far back. To me, 7's the best, yeah? Then I'd say 9, then I'd say 10. But 10's the best place to start because it's not like miles off kind of what you get now.
Yeah.
Because it was ahead of its time. And like, they've been HD-ified.
Yeah.
Just let me have that, all right? And there's 10 too as well. If you like playing dress up in that. So, yeah, I would say 10.
Yeah, no, that's a fair shout, that.
Because you can't see you can't say 8, 13 or 11, can you? It's the first place to start. You know what I mean? Anyway, so you've been on a platinum quest. Mike, you played Call of Duty with us quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, we've been playing it quite a lot, haven't we, together? Like, and I'm finding myself sticking with it even when you guys like clock off and something, which is I don't normally do that with other games and that. Like I'd never kept playing Apex Legends without you two, for example. So it's quite an addictive. I think that's the best word for it because it doesn't feel healthy, but I just can't stop. I can't stop playing it. Like it's really, really good and really tight and. It's so, it's like this headless chicken thing, COD, isn't it? Like where you're kind of scurrying around maps and stuff. And it still is in this, but I think the maps feel a little bit more, they don't feel like baked arenas for like multiplayer gameplay, which I think a lot of COD maps over the last sort of 10 years have. Like they're perfectly symmetrical and things like that. And, things feel like video game multiplayer maps in COD a lot of the time, but they've done a good job in this one of kind of making the maps and stuff feel just like, like levels, like areas, and the buildings have got nice detail and stuff like that. And it's quite a nice game to be in. It doesn't feel like I'm just in this kind of, cold-blooded multiplayer, like endless kind of roulette machine of just like, right, I'm gonna have another game, I'm gonna have another game, I'm gonna have another game. It doesn't feel like that when I'm playing it, which makes it all the more deadly, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like the battle royale, when you die, it's a bit of a bummer because like you've got this like literally like a 4 or 5 minute wait for the next game, whereas the regular multiplayer, I think, balances this thing where when you die you don't care, but when you win you do care. So that's good because it's like, oh, I died, fair enough. But then when you get a kill, you're like, fuck yeah, I got a kill streak, which is hard to balance because like on Battlefield. Even if I got 10 kills in a row, when I die, I'm like, fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. But this, it's like, it is so snappy. So I like that. And I like how it does connect to the Battle Royale in the sense that you can make your loadouts, you can make your custom classes, and then you can bring that into the Battle Royale with the loadout drops and stuff. So I feel like when I play it without you guys, if I played a regular multiplayer, which I prefer, I think, would definitely prefer
the Battle Royale.
I think so, yeah, by myself anyway. That I'm like building towards a class that I can ultimately import into the Battle Royale. But then when I'm playing with you two, like I love playing Battle Royale mode because it's like a big difference. It's a good balance. I just can't get over how much I enjoy just doing nothing on the game. Like when we're just sitting around like holed up somewhere, which is like absolutely like the core of a Battle Royale game. To be truthful, like PUBG, it was fucking boring when you were waiting for something to happen. There's just something about it that's constantly like, I don't know, you're seeing airplanes go by, airstrikes, helicopters, you're listening out for like trucks, and you constantly feel like there could be somebody in the building opposite. Whereas in PUBG, if you were like cornered like in a cliff or something, or by the power plant or whatever on the old map, like you'd feel like, all right, it could be hours till I see someone almost.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I don't know. Like they've got all these little things that I can't quite explain down really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, there's more players in there, isn't there? And there's just generally more sort of chaos. And even when you die, at first, it's a bit kind of off-putting, the gulag stuff. And that, for me anyway, is like, it's just, what's all that about? Like, what's the point? It just adding these layers of complexity to it, which it didn't really need. But then when you get into it, it's really good. It's really good when you win in a gulag and stuff, and you think, and it's just got this, like, even though you die, and you can die in really unfortunate ways in Battle Royale. So when you just get, a bit of bad luck and you die, you've still got a little kind of roll of the dice, one-on-one fight that can get you back in. And even then, there's still stakes in following your squad around and having a look at their kind of, seeing their perspective, not just because it's fun to do that, but also because, you want to see how much money they've got. And when they've got enough money, you can be like, all right, come and revive me. And then you can say that, and then a little notification will pop up telling your squad exactly where the nearest kind of revive station is and stuff. So, it's really clever layers that they've added on top of, like, the Battle Royale thing.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I find that, like, a lot of the time when we die, it's like early enough that we have the gulag. It's only, like, towards the end where you don't even get the option to go to the gulag, because it is when, like, you feel like the stakes have been pushed up. But I like the I do like the elements that they've sort of added with this team mechanic with buy-in, and like basically the currency mechanic is the thing that I like. And it adds a lot to it, I reckon, because it always starts off like a normal game, and then by the end of it, everyone's just playing with a custom class that they've got, unless you're like us and you just fucking take it from their fucking cold dead hands. But we like this week, like, I feel like all of our games were like having a nice, even when we're not winning, we're getting close. So it's like, it's just, I feel like we've warmed to it and it's just getting better. But I've got to say that regular multiplayer is just hitting me like.
Yeah, and I'm playing that a lot. That's what I mean when when you guys clock off, I'll kind of sometimes I'll keep on playing for half an hour or an hour of regular multiplayer, and it's really good, really well balanced and really fun, and feels really satisfying. And you are revived before your fucking body has hit the floor, to be honest. Like, as soon as you get shot, you're basically back on the map somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? So it just feels so like you're always in the thick of it, like, which is a completely different feeling to what you do get in Battlefield, where there sometimes are just long jogs across the map and stuff, and it's it's a lot slower, really. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if we should keep talking about it though, because it is becoming fucking the COD pod, isn't it? It is really becoming the COD pod.
I mean, it really hit home where somebody, like I say, started a podcast. But for those listening to the stream, you would have heard. It hit me when someone said like we should play more indie games, and I was like, oh.
But here we are.
Yeah, I was like.
Remember, we are talking about COD multiplayer again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about an indie game then.
Go on then. How about this? Right? I played the game made by one developer. No one's ever heard of it. How's that? Yeah? Craft beer as fuck, isn't it? No, I'll let me tell you. So, like, the size of our channel means that we get a lot of requests for games by Steam publishers and stuff like that. As you know, like, we get quite a lot of games for free. We're very lucky that way. But the downside of that is you're always getting spammed if you cover indie games, which we do, with loads of, like, just indie games you've never heard of. And, like, I do try and play quite a lot of them, and I don't talk about them if they're shit. That's basically as far as it goes, because there's no point talking about a game and slagging it off, right? But the games that I normally play that I don't like are boss rush games that say that they're Souls-like. So I saw a game, it caught my attention. It was offered to us that was Souls-like, boss rush, 8-bit game. I think, like, the problem with indie developers is that they get inspired by things and then they tell people that that's what they are. So, like, if you were a high school band and you were inspired by Metallica and the Beatles, right? That was your inspiration. Then you'd go to people and say, oh, yeah, we're like a bit of a cross between Metallica and the Beatles.
Yeah.
But they never are they?
Beatallica.
Yeah, exactly. But they're never Beatallica, are they? They're just some fucking bunch of 16-year-olds. So when I heard that you're calling your game like a boss rush or a bullet hell, it makes me weary. So I picked up this game called ITTA. It's a one-man game by Glass Revolver Studios. The dude's called Jacob. Glass Revolver Studios. It's a one-man studio, so whatever. And it's like it's coming out on Switch and Steam this week, right? And it's a boss rush, bullet hell adventure. It's really like a mashup of like a lot of games you would have seen before, and I guess the ones to really bring up is like, can you remember Titan Souls? That like very condensed boss rushy, retro style, almost like top down
ARPG type of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Is that the one where you had the one arrow and you had to keep collecting it again? Was that it?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It ended up as a PS Plus game and stuff like that, and I think it was given out for free on Epic Games Store or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a game. Imagine that if it was expanded on. That's basically what ITTA is actually, and I'm gonna give it a big compliment, right? Which is a dangerous thing to liken something to, but I'm gonna fucking do it. It's got the Titan Souls thing, but it does have a very Dark Souls element to it, yeah? In the sense that you wouldn't think. So I think most people miss the point when they try and make a game like Dark Souls. This isn't trying to be like Dark Souls, but it does have this lovely Firelink Shrine-esque central hub. Like, like there's a nice like little valley-like area that kind of is like the main hub point with NPCs that are very like sparse in what they've got to say. The dialogue's very vague, but there is story there if you want. And that's the thing that really made me go, okay, there could be something to this game, and it made me carry on playing it for like 5-6 hours. So the basic premise is you're a girl whose family's dead, and then the spirit of this like cat thing, and you've got some sort of like ghost revolver gun. You start off with this gun, and you just have to try and find out what's happened. So yeah, the storytelling is very like Celeste-y, if you know what I mean. Like it's very indie kind of, what's at stake and what's been lost, and will you get back what's lost, and is everyone a ghost? And it's very boss rushy in the sense that like, well, you fight a lot of bosses, but each time you do, one stone in the giant door lights up, so you know that you've got to beat like all 18 bosses to unlock the mystery. Yeah. I guess the best way to describe it, to be completely honest, is it's not quite anything more than the sum of its parts, but its parts are all very good parts. Do you know what I mean? It's not 5 things put together and then it's made a 6th magical thing. It very much is just, it's a bit of this, it's a bit of that, it's a bit of that, it's a bit of that. But because it's picked what it's taken from other games so like precisely and it's curated that quite well, it does just kind of fit. So like, what would happen if Enter the Gungeon's bullet hell dodge roll mechanics were mixed with Titan Souls, were mixed with Hyper Light Drifter, were mixed with the Firelink Shrine bit from Dark Souls 1. It's exactly that. It's nothing more than that. It's exactly that. But it's actually quite enjoyable. I've got to tell you, it's there's something to it that if you like retro games and you like kind of brain off, like dodge roll, shoot, bullet helly stuff, it's very nice. It's not like roguelike. It's nothing like that. And like I say, it's got that interconnected world, like how Hollow Knight, I guess, is most recently done it. And you're fighting different bosses, and you're unlocking. You don't so much unlock abilities, but you unlock different guns, and the different guns unlock areas. So what I mean is, like, there's giant pillars blocking your way. You can't shoot through that with your revolver, but later on you get a shotgun which can blast down that, and it'll unlock the next area. So yeah, that's kind of it. And I've got to tell you that, like, yeah, it's for a game that, like, when I was searching for it earlier, I couldn't find anything on. I'm quite shocked. I am quite shocked. I like this more than Titan Souls, and I'm like, when I was looking up that, people were very favourable towards that. So if you want like if you want a wild card choice, yeah, I would get this. I actually would. It's got some. It's not too long. It's not going to outstay its welcome. It's quite challenging, but it's forgiving as well. You don't have like anything that on death like in a Souls-like or in Hollow Knight or whatever. So the stakes are low when you die, but it is challenging. And the big thing about bullet hell games that I think is a mistake when they go on Switch is that it just can't handle it, and the frame rate just tanks when you've got all these particles and stuff like that. It's really smooth. I was playing it handheld the entire time, and like I didn't have anything like that. But yeah, you've got that like dodge roll mechanic, that shooting mechanic, and that's about it. It's got a lot better like controls than like even Children of Morta. Remember, I was saying I didn't like the 8-directional thing. This is a lot nicer. I don't know why it's only on Switch and Steam. Seems like Switch is a bit of a hurdle, right, for a lot of indie developers. But I guess it's because they know it's the home for like indies. So yeah. If you want like a real wild card choice, or if you've been playing like your backlog and you want to try something new, I'd recommend this. And the thing is, I haven't even mentioned how it looks or sounds, but it looks and sounds fucking good. They're one of these games that like you see the art style and you think it's appealing, but is it going to have the substance as well? And yeah, it does. So it's worth having a look at. It's ITTA, ITTA, and I think it's out in like 3 or 4 days. 23rd of April, I think. I can actually just check the website. Yeah, 22nd of April it is. So cool. Yeah, I was surprised at how much I like that actually.
Yeah, it sounds all right. It sounds like it sounds like a perfect sort of Switch game to me, really. Like I'd never play stuff like that on a PC and stuff. See, I just I know a lot of people do.
Same. I've like I'm not like you guys where you will double dip on games. Like to be honest, I don't really ever do that. But with the Switch, I found that I bought Moonlighter again, Stardew Valley again, Dead Cells again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Children of Morta. Well, actually, we were given that, so it doesn't count. But whatever. Like and I would only play that, and I would not play Stardew Valley on my PC now. Like no chance.
Yeah.
This is kind of one of them, but I think they made a clever move. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up just because this is like one of those games that you see it on the Switch eShop and it'll look good because like visually it's very appealing, but you'll go, well, never fucking heard of it. Do you know what I mean? There's a high chance that our VOD of this will be there. So if you're somehow listening to this because you've seen this on the eShop and you've gone, well, it looks good, but nah, you should get it. It's pretty fucking good.
Cool. That's a good recommendation. So that's that's our yes, we do indie games section.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on with stuff we actually want to talk about. I'm joking. That was a joke. Liam.
Yes.
So you platinum Final Fantasy and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where'd you go from here? Because I've been thinking this about you. You've both of you actually. Jake hasn't finished Final Fantasy yet.
Nope.
Right. 7. Right. So both of you really, but Liam, you've just got to this point far quicker than Jake. We did talk about it last week. What the hell are you going to do now?
Wait for the next part.
Because you've already Final Fantasy 15. The Final Fantasy 15 plat feels a bit like that feels a bit like
that was like the victory
I need to keep exactly. I need to running around the stage.
Running on momentum at this point. Yeah.
But where next in it? Where next?
Sekiro plat. Get the Sekiro plat. You'll feel good for it.
Sekiro is a game I'm quite happy to never go back to. I really enjoyed my time with it. I will never touch it again.
I've reinstalled it.
I was downloading it.
To be fair, thing with Final Fantasy VII, I wouldn't even recommend the hard mode to people, to be honest, because it's just more frustrating than it is fun. Because of it feels like these really weird artificial restrictions that are put on you for the sake of making the game a bit harder, and it does kind of throw off the balance of the game, to be honest. Like some boss fights are like stupidly hard because you can tell they've not really been thought about with these certain parameters that get put on you. But what's next for me? I kind of just want to play more JRPGs, to be honest, at the minute. It's really put me in the mood. And it's not I'm not short on JRPGs to play. I own Christ knows how many of them that are in my backlog. So I'll probably start one of them next. But I've also been sort of getting the itch to go back to the original Final Fantasy VII on the Switch. Don't know why, just, I'm in the mood for Midgar, I guess. But,
yeah.
You've
got that, you'll have that nice.
It's good for that. Switch is great for Final Fantasies.
Oh yeah. And then you get that nice feeling of knowing how the story's ending.
Yeah. So
and you can do it at 5 times the speed or whatever it is.
That is certainly handy. That speed up button, so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
really cool.
I'll probably go back and play another JRPG, and then just more backlog stuff, I guess, because Final Fantasy VII was the biggest game I was looking forward to of all of 2020, and seeing as every other game has either been delayed or postponed indefinitely, I think that was sort of the last one for me as well, to be honest. Like, I was looking forward to Last of Us 2, but that's been delayed. Ghost of Tsushima, that's still supposedly coming out for like July, but it wouldn't surprise me if that gets delayed. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like even stuff like Cyberpunk way into September gets delayed and stuff, you know. But
well, you'd imagine, wouldn't you? I'm kind of assuming that it will, to be honest.
I don't think so.
Do you not?
No, not again. Not again. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. They've delayed it so many times already. Can they afford another one?
But they've delayed. Something else got delayed, like yesterday, for like, or was it Friday? Something else has been delayed, like again. You know, Last of Us has moved more than once, hasn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's like 4 times or something like that. So I just don't. I don't think this needs to. Like, I think people will save for it and buy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's got all the marketing ahead of it. I don't think that they were delaying it for any reason. It wasn't ready, but apparently it's ready now. Like, so.
Oh, is it?
I suppose it's can they get it into the shops though? Because that's from what I've heard. That's why Last of Us 2 was delayed, because they wouldn't be able to get physical copies to retailers, and so people were saying like, why don't they just do a digital only release? But then Sony already have contracts in place with like Amazon and places, and you can't really break those contracts, or that's like taking a massive dent out of your own business. Because even though digital is more popular than ever, physical still makes like a huge percentage of sales for games and stuff. So it's like, even though you could technically release Last of Us 2 right now if you wanted to, you still got to take into account like game and high street shops and whatever.
Yeah,
who've already had agreements.
I reckon Tesco's like market share of fucking physical game sales has probably gone through the roof, hasn't it? Like, because it's the only shop that's open. Like all the supermarkets.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, for sure. Like, I was trying to get that when I was trying to get COD. I went to 3 supermarkets and it was sold out in all 3 of them.
Yeah, yeah. Back on COD for a minute. It's. I think it's. I'm not so sure about Cyberpunk. Like, maybe you know. Maybe it will come out, but like, I don't know. It just feels so big that it's got so many years behind it that it'd be quite an achievement if it did actually fucking come out when it's supposed to. I think
I've got a feeling it might be delayed, but to tie into next gen launch, so you can have like the big shiny version to show off on PS5 and whatnot. I was kind of
staring at my my PS4 like library. You know how I like to install stuff, and I'm sort of feeling like I'm getting close to just putting it out to pasture, really, because there's nothing big new that's coming out on it that until the next gen, if you know what I mean. So when you really think about it, what else have you got to come on the PS4?
Tsushima, which is like a month and a half away, and then maybe possibly Cyberpunk.
And what I was actually looking at was the like the spring sale.
Oh yeah.
And there's just permanently a sale on the PlayStation Store of some kind now. It's got to the stage where there's just always loads and loads of discounts on different stuff. And then I was just like, wow, fucking every single one of these that I want to play, I have. There's just so many games I've already played and bought, or I'm not interested in. So there's just it's just sort of really dawned on me, like, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that it's just like, this is basically the end of the PS4 kind of thing for me. Yeah. I'm going to move on to the next gen, this year if it does come out.
Yeah.
It's just quite an eye-opening moment when you're like, well, I've deleted everything off here that I want. All I've got left is Modern Warfare and Dark Souls 3, which I'm trying to get to the DLC for. But other than that, it's like, what's left, isn't it?
That's one way to think about it. Yeah,
It's just interesting. It's just interesting because I think the sales and everything and discounts and that really like highlight it, because you've played everything, you've bought everything. It's like the feeling you get on the Steam sales. Like, it's just, I've got however many hundreds of Steam games. Steam sales are like a lot less exciting to me now than they were you know,
I know what you
5-6 years ago. Like,
you can't help but think as well, when you're going through Steam sales, you're like, if I really wanted to play this game, I would have bought it much earlier than before
absolutely.
it was on like the 80% off discount.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
You and your PlayStation library, go. I'll tell you, but that's my favourites now. Is like just thinking, the good times are over.
I did
it's not that. It's just becoming obvious now that there's not much reason for my PS4 now. You know, compared to anything else, like it doesn't have the. I've played Bloodborne and I've played I've played God of War and I've played all the exclusives on it that I love, and yeah, it's like Ghost of Tsushima, I guess, is the one next, but I will get that. It looks
There's
cool.
quite a lot of PC things coming out that I'm looking forward to over the next couple of months. But do you know what I'm oddly looking forward to? Because I actually haven't played the first two, but I'm looking forward to that new Torchlight game.
Yeah.
Torchlight. Is it actually called Torchlight? No, yeah. It wasn't called Torchlight 3, but they've changed it.
They renamed it. It was Frontiers originally, but they renamed it.
And it was a free-to-play bit of wank,
MMO-ish,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, but they said that like they realized everyone hated it, and then they changed it. So like Kale was in the alpha for it and said it was good. So I've looked and I love how it looks. Have you guys looked into it at all?
No,
yeah, I've seen both. I remember watching. Was it the engineer who can put down the train tracks? I remember seeing.
Yeah. It looks proper fucking good, and it is an ARPG as well.
Yeah,
which is normally your thing more than mine. Guys, to be honest. Speaking of, I was this fucking close from buying Diablo 3 last night.
On the Switch?
Yeah, it's like 20 quid.
It's worth it for that, you know. It's really good on the Switch.
Yeah, I know, but fucking Runeterra's out in like 12 days, mate, so there's no point. I'll tell you right now, there's no point. Because everything that's not that can get fucked. But, oh man, the new cards that they're showing off for that look so good. I've got to tell you, yeah. Between that and Valorant, Riot Games, I said it, I'm going to keep fucking saying it. They are just fucking killing it this year. And as for that as well, Valorant, I wanted to be playing it this week and let you guys know, but I haven't had the key for it. I've watched the game for like 6 hours, 7 hours, and I still haven't got a fucking key. So I've messaged Riot Games, like saying like I'm in the top 1% of Runeterra players, give me a Valorant key. And guess what, boys? They didn't reply. So, you know, can't swing my dick around there, can I? Yeah, I've got a fucking... I've got to wait for this Valorant key, but have you seen any more on it, guys, or no?
No.
I've only seen the people kicking off about the anti-cheat. That was it.
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of reasons to kick off the game. The whole thing, what it's doing with Twitch, that whole situation, that's been kicking off, right? In the streamer world, there's so much fucking beef. Everyone's at each other's throats. I've seen with my own eyes somebody go from 112,000 followers to 290. Right, God. In 5 days. And I mean, they are a professional Overwatch player and they've been streaming for 5 years, but to see their numbers double in 5-6 days is quite silly and just very odd. But yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm interested in what it is. It's not going to be for me, and I know I'll play it, die 5 times and go fuck this shit, but interesting to see esportsy marketing, I guess, on a game, but I don't know. I didn't really like the idea of Overwatch at my brother and sister's house, and it was really fucking good. Like, it is quite fun, especially if you're playing ranked, because you're playing against people who are your level, not so, you know, I was playing against like shit houses, not really good people. But Valorant is supposed to be pretty interesting, so I guess I'll get that. I'm just looking now at games that are coming out gen, to be honest, guys, and there's nothing, unless you're a PC fan. If you've only got a PC, there's quite a lot coming out because you're getting all the scraps of PlayStation games. So like Death Stranding comes to PC on June 2nd. I think you've got another PlayStation game going over there with probably a photo mode, but like, that sounds like I'm taking a piss, but I'm not. Like Death Stranding on PC will look nice.
Horizon's coming to PC in the summer. Like Zero Dawn.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. That's coming to PC.
Well, they've done the job now, haven't they? Like they've sold the systems that they were going to sell. So.
Oh yeah, you can.
Might as well move on.
You can see it's like a Horizon.
I'm sensing a theme here, Mike. Yeah.
Put in the first Horizon game on PC. You can tell that's probably to try and entice people to maybe get a PS5 for when Horizon 2 inevitably comes
Liam,
out.
you've gone again, man.
Oh, have I? Sorry. Well, it'll be fine on the VOD, so don't worry. But yeah, so what I was saying...
Sorry, man.
You know, when they put Horizon on PC, it's definitely meant to be getting PC players to go out and buy a PS5 for Horizon 2.
Do you know what, yeah? That was what I was wondering, right? I was 50-50. I couldn't figure out if they were doing it because they were just trying to hint towards maybe when the PS5 comes, there's going to be a lot more collaboration. But
Maybe.
do you reckon that's what it is? Like they're giving them like a breadcrumb trail to lead them to buying a PS5?
Yeah, like especially if Sony came out and said Horizon 2 coming, I don't know, March 2021, and then people say, "Oh, well, I played that on PC and liked it." They might go out and buy a PS5 at Christmas and then just wait until the March or whatever. I don't know.
It just makes loads of sense on loads of, like they'll just get money from game sales that they wouldn't have got otherwise. And, why wouldn't you do it at this point? And the only reason not to do it is for exclusivity, because you're trying to convince people to buy PS4s, which they're not trying to do anymore. So why don't you just put it on the PC? And it just makes loads of sense, doesn't it?
Sony actually they're publishing a PC game that's out this week, I think.
What's that?
Predator Hunting Grounds. That is published by Sony.
All right.
And it's
Everyone's looking forward to that, aren't they?
Yeah. We're buzzing, clearly.
I played the beta for that, and janky is how I would describe it.
Yeah. I haven't played anything, and after what you said, nah. But there was a couple of games. So I'm just looking at games. There was a couple of game announcements this week. So
yeah, XCOM Chimera Squad sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Kind of. It's really cheap. So it's a new XCOM game. So XCOM is, you know what that is, right? It's a tactical turn-based
shooting game for nerds.
It's sci-fi. It's not a shooting game. Oh my god, it's not a shooting. Jesus Christ! Do you know what? Yeah, someone described it as an RTS.
Fucking got him.
Someone, I can't remember who it was, but it said, something's RTS, famed RTS, and it actually annoyed me.
Was it Eurogamer?
No, it was. I think it was like Games Radar or something. But then you click in on the it was like a Google result that said RTS, and then you clicked on the article, and then the headline didn't have RTS in it anymore. So they obviously had they'd fucking
they had the well actually.
Yeah. But XCOM's just fucking superb. XCOM 2 is genuinely one of my favorites of all time.
Can you, before you talk about XCOM Chimera Squad, can you just let me know a couple of things that you like about XCOM 2? So we can play, is it in XCOM Chimera Squad bingo?
It's the shooting. No, I like so it's basically like, imagine like Football Manager, but with like an alien invasion, and then you have loads of different characters in your squad. You have loads of different,
characters that you make the characters.
Yeah, totally. You make them. Yeah. So, but they're kind of randomly generated. So they'll come to you with, every character is just like a spreadsheet. Basically, you've name, country of origin, all this different stuff, and they're 100% customizable. So someone can come to you, called like Santiago Dominguez or something, and then you can change it to like a German person, and it's it's fine. It's totally customizable. But the fun thing is getting that like roll of the dice. Like for me anyway, like you just get different characters chucked at you, and then someone who you just chuck them in as like rookies, and then over the course of the game, what the game is amazing at doing is getting you to like these people who just come to you at the beginning as just cardboard cutout XCOM squad members, and then by the end, they've been through some shit and they've got scars on their face and they've got different relationships with other characters, and they want you can have bonds between the squad mates if they go out like to do missions together a lot and things like that. And there's all kinds of really different complicated systems in the game to make you feel attached to your characters, which isn't in XCOM Chimera Squad, as far as I'm aware. They're not randomly generated. They're just like preset.
Yeah, you can pick a team of 11. From like a pool of 11. I don't think there's 11 people at once on your missions.
It's a bit more like an RPG setup, then, isn't it? It's a bit more like here's a cast of potential characters. Choose your party out of them.
Yeah, out of your ragtag bunch of misfits.
Yeah.
So XCOM 2 is about an alien invasion. something like that. The XCOM initiative fucked up. So XCOM 2 is like the aliens have invaded Earth. Is that about right?
No, yeah, XCOM 1 is the invasion. So we're saying 1, but these are like the remake series that are done by, I think it's Firaxis or whatever the company's called. So it's not the original games. But XCOM is about, an alien invasion. XCOM 2 is the aliens have successfully invaded and conquered the entire planet, and you're like a resistance force. So instead of like, being the Earth fighting off these invaders as they're landing, the aliens have basically settled and taken over the planet. So it's a lot more like a guerrilla fighting thing. So there's a lot more stealth mechanics and stuff like that. And, the story setup and that is a lot more about like espionage and subterfuge. And you're trying to fight a war in like a guerrilla kind of way, which is a bit different.
Okay.
It's really good. It's fucking amazing, actually.
So that's the plot of the first two. So then...
Yeah.
The setup for the third one is that, in fact, now the Earthlings and the aliens, who are both sharing this planet, are
Earthlings? Whose side are you on, mate?
They're now mates, aren't they? Yeah?
Right, okay.
The fucking humanoids.
Yeah.
so they're friends. So there's aliens, and there's the humans, and then there's the hybrids, which I guess it speaks for itself. And they're all one alliance. So Chimera Squad is against the new threat, which I can't remember what that is.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good. So they released like a 6-minute, I guess like explainer gameplay trailer thing, which was quite cool. They have enough. They've got such a good track record with XCOM and XCOM 2, and especially like the expansions and the way they just take like game mechanics and then build something really cool out of it and devolve it and stuff. So this is an £8 game at launch. You can buy it for £8. It's on PC only. That's like a launch discount, so it's going to go up to about 18 or something after a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that's making me kind of like, I don't know if I'm not too excited about it. I will get it because it's so cheap, and I like I said, XCOM 2 is one of my favorite games ever, so I will definitely get it. But it just it seems like it's something, that it seems to me like the best comparison I can think of is the Total War Thrones of Britannia or whatever it was called.
Saga.
Saga game. So they quietly they were making another big Total War game in the background, but in the meantime they put out a little kind of side edition of Total War. Mm-hmm. That's how it feels, obviously.
I was, I don't know, like, so I have no skin in the game, right? Like, I don't care if it's not close to XCOM 2 because I don't fucking know. But what? So I'm a lot more interested in what you got to say about it. But it's like, so it's not even like XCOM 2.5, like you'd say, because War of the Chosen was XCOM 2.5. This seems like if this wasn't made by the main developers of XCOM 1, 2, and War of the Chosen, was XCOM 1 being like whatever it's called, fucking Enemy Unknown or whatever.
Yeah.
If it wasn't made by them, I'd be like really like, ooh, sorry, Mike, I'm sorry, but this is it. It's by the same developers, and it seems original. Again, like they do keep expanding on it. They are expanding on it by making it some sort of fucking cartoony buddy cop thing.
Yeah.
But overall, like if I was Mike right now, I'd be thinking Gears Tactics and XCOM the same week. One's on Game Pass, the other's about fucking £6.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so if one of them hits, you're in a good place.
Yeah, exactly. And they're a good studio, like we talk about From Software and stuff like this, and studios that are just really good at like doing what they do, kind of thing. This is a perfect example of that, where they just know game mechanics really well, and they got a good relationship with the board game. Like XCOM Enemy Unknown has a very quite a famous board game that goes with it, and then that had its own new mechanics, and then you see those mechanics come over into the expansion and into the sequel, and so they have a good relationship with the board game. And that board games are just entirely built on mechanics, aren't they? Well, not entirely, but mechanics are very, very important to board games. So if you can make things fun in a board game, there's a good chance it would be fun in a video game, especially one that's got that kind of tactical setup as well, where it's like, it's like looking at a bit of a menu type of thing, even though it's a very nicely well animated menu. It's like a Paradox game. But it's like it suits the board game thing really well. So they're just a studio that really know how to play with mechanics really well and flip things on their head and make you feel things as you play over the course of time. So by putting a system in there that over 10 or 15 hours, you'll start seeing the end results of what that system does. Like the relationships thing is a perfect one. So if you've got two characters that keep fighting together, 15 hours later, they'll have like loads of different traits and stuff, and they'll have a relationship, and if one isn't fighting, the other one is. And it's really good how that's
something I really liked about Fire Emblem Three Houses that I was looking at, and everybody was saying, that's one of the many things that it lifted from XCOM. But like, I think that with that, speaking of Fire Emblem Three Houses, I actually think this will be quite similar to that in the sense that you've got your roster to choose from. You won't be bringing all of them into all the battles, but obviously you're going to pick some favorites and bring them in and out. If one dies, it's automatically game over, as far as I know. So you don't need to save scum to get them all in perfect health, which is like a common XCOM thing to do, right? This is like just part of it. Like, so there's that, and then you've got like a lot more inside, like battles that are inside in buildings, not out on the streets. Which, from my very limited time playing XCOM 2, was something that I saw quite a bit. So, like, it reminds me more of like This Is the Police, the style of the art and stuff like that. But I just I don't know, I don't want to be too speculative, but basically like between this coming to the XCOM 2 coming to the Switch at the end of May and this coming out, I wonder if this is some sort of, this is probably used as a device to kind of Rogue One-ify the XCOM 3 dev story, like, do you know what I mean? And then you've also got XCOM 2, which will help with the funding of XCOM 3. Mm-hmm. So I feel like XCOM 3 is probably in the works, and they're going to be taking a couple of measures to try and get the XCOM name. Like, I'm a lot more interested in getting into XCOM now, because you brought it up like 2 weeks ago, so it was kind of just there, sitting at the back of my head. And then I heard it was coming to Switch, and then it's a bit more there, and now there's a new game, so I'm like, I'll start with this one, then I'll get XCOM 2 installed on the PS4, and then I'll get it on the Switch,
I'll tell you what, I can't wait for XCOM 2 on the Switch. That's been there or thereabouts, like my top kind of wish for a Switch game. I've always kind of thought it would be a good fit, and because Banner Saga works so well, and it, Mario and Rabbids is just that's a good enough testament to how good XCOM is and how good that studio is at making games. Yeah. That it, that even Nintendo are kind of dabbling, with like giving their character to Ubisoft to make a game with the fucking rabbits, to make a XCOM type strategy game. That should tell you something, It just makes a lot of sense to have a turn-based game like that on the Switch, especially one that's so as good as XCOM 2. That's why I've been wanting it for so long. So that's an easy purchase for me, and that's Well,
that's one thing I was thinking.
A lot of people will get into it.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the things I texted you guys saying like straight away, and then you brought up Rabbids, was I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be a really good like entry point into not just like the series of XCOM, but the genre, because it's not all just Mikes and Simply Phils that are playing it. Like, you know what I mean? But it is a bit of a fucking. It's a lot to take on. Like, I remember when I started XCOM 2, it's like, okay, there's a lot of, you got this is your base, but this seems like a really cool way to get people in. And then if they want that and more, luckily XCOM 2's out, and hey, they can get it on Switch in a month. So XCOM Chimera Squad. It's cool to talk about. Like, do you know what I really like? I say this all the time. I'm sure everyone's the same. Can't think of anyone that would be the opposite. Get a game, gets revealed, looks good. It's out in a week.
Yeah.
What a turnaround, eh? So it's cool to talk about this now, but in a bit of a speculative way, and knowing that next week we'll talk about it, having played it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked a lot about like game mechanics and stuff there with XCOM. We've got an email sort of focused a bit more on story, which is quite nice, which I quite like to read out. If you want to send us an email, the address is dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. It's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Send us an email and we'll have a read. This one's from Fletcher from Manchester, who says, "Hey gamers, I always enjoy when a story is presented in an imaginative way. For example, one of my favourite books was a space opera where the entire story is told through instant messaging logs, computer logs, and transcripts from camera footage. Thinking about this led me to replay Orwell, a game where you play as an investigator at your computer, using the country's extensive surveillance system to create profiles about target persons. The entire story and game is played through viewing blogs, messages, emails, listening to phone calls, and so on. There's no cutscenes, nor even any dialogue in the first game, but the game manages to keep me hooked. Obviously, some games lend themselves well to cutscenes and stuff like codex entries are needed for games with tons of lore, but what are some interesting ways of storytelling that you've seen in a game? Keep on smashing, Fletcher. P.S. Release the Tarkov report."
Fletcher's in the Twitch chat right now as well. So respect to you, Fletcher. Yeah, guys, what do you reckon of this? Because I reckon this is like it's a good email. This I like it when this happens. Not a good email. I mean, like when there's a story told in an interesting way. So like, I'll kick the ball off quickly with her story. Do you ever play that? You've at least seen that, right? FMV, whole thing is through using a police database where you're watching like the police reports of a woman who's been accused of murder. I think I can't remember. It is. I know it is. And you search the database with keywords that will bring up words that are said in the video. So there might be like, she might mention the gardener, so then you search gardener, and then all of a sudden you've got more you're going down this kind of web like that where you're following leads, and sometimes you're following red herrings, and I love that because it's really giving you that agency where you feel like not only are you watching a story unfold as it should, you're also watching a story unfold unnecessarily. If you're going down this, like, you're obsessed with this idea, the gardener did it, so you're finding more and more things, and you're missing the point. It's a real good way of it's a real good way of telling the story. That, and in fact, the guy who made a game called Telling Lies, which is a very similar device that he used to get that game play out, and that had some big actors in it, like some Westworld actors and shit. But that's just like an example I can think of. Have you guys got anything that comes to mind?
What about you, Liam?
I've got one. There's an indie horror game called Stories Untold, and it's a horror anthology. Right. I think 3 different stories, and the first one is told like an old text adventure, like you'd find on an old computer. And then the second one is the story is told. It's a bit like The Thing, actually, but except you're sat in a log cabin, but you're like decrypting radio transmissions that keep coming in.
Right.
And every so often you'll decode one, and it'll like sort of reveal a little bit of what's going on, and sort of like the paranoia and panic starts setting in. And then I mean, it's not original or better, but I've always liked how BioShock tells its story mostly through audio logs, which I know is boring as anything, but those audio
it's
logs
boring. It's boring now.
But back then it was quite original.
Well, we'll get that in the VOD as well.
we'll get that in the VOD. Yeah.
Right.
Go on, Liam. Repeat that sentence.
You two were just sat smiling like really creepily, and I was like, "What's going on?"
Welcome to the purge.
So I'll just say, but like when BioShock came out, I guess not many games had really done audio log story of Terran, but like I don't know, it's hard to think off the top of my head. I did have a few, and they've gone out of my mind completely.
There's so many different ways of doing it, though, isn't there? And like indie games will just do it in an interesting way. If you look at like What Remains of Edith Finch, or like Brothers, Tale of Two Sons, or whatever it's called, and they're 2 different games. But they do things around like a really specific idea of like, oh, okay, we got this story of 2 kids and whatever, and they tell the story through the gameplay in a specific. That's the point of the game, almost, in a way. So there's really clear like thing thrusting through the middle of it, and then What Remains of Edith Finch is the same kind of thing, except it's more of like a bit of a tapestry of different things. That's but that's what the game's trying to do, is trying to tell a story but do it in a really interesting way. But I'm quite when I think of this kind of thing, to be completely honest with you, what I want is more like old school, like BioWare kind of going up to a character, talking to them, listening to their problems about this like backwater planet that they live on, or this shitty kind of dark fantasy village that they live in, or whatever. Talking to them, and then them telling me, I got all these rats in my house or whatever, and you go and you kill the rats, and then there's you find some environmental storytelling in there and stuff, and just having that like BioWare kind of conversation system. And they always had like these, reading letters and reading like data logs and stuff. And
I thought you were going to say because it's the first one that comes to mind for me anyway, is like the Fallout terminals.
Yeah,
do you know? Yeah. It's not original. It's not clever. It's done. But for some reason, the way that is subtle in the world of Fallout, where you've got this big story being told to you and everyone's telling. But when you find out little things that happen in the, for example.
Well, that's what I mean. You read them letters or terminals as they are in Fallout and stuff, and there's always like little stories in there, and you can tell that sometimes maybe this is just one person who's written this, and maybe like some QA testers have read it or something, but there's no chance that like the people at the top of the like design and stuff decision making have read all of these hundreds of books and letters and things like that are in all the games. So you can I love that. I love when you like read a little story that someone has bothered to write and just tuck away in a book, and then that book's like on a few shelves in Skyrim, and then that's it.
100%. So stuff like that's good, right? But when we were just talking about it, there was a lot of horror things that came up, and it does make me think that horror films, get not much love for being unoriginal, but horror games, I think, definitely push. I think a lot of the best ways of telling stories come from horror games, like even take Silent Hill 2, for example, where the way that told the story is very original. And Liam just mentioned Stories Untold, right? So I'll just bring up two more games that I think tell a story in a very interesting way. One is Simulacra, and Simulacra 2 just came out, actually, which is, it's on Steam now, which I think defeats the purpose a little bit, but it's a mobile game originally, and it looks like a mobile, and it's a bit of a like unfriended, which me and Liam have mentioned about 4 times today.
Weirdly,
for some reason. But it's that sort of thing where it takes over your phone in a kind of you get messages and stuff, and I like that. And if you've not played this one, it's a classic. Try not to Google it. Doki Doki Literature Club, which there's another one being worked on, and I can't fucking believe it. Like, oh my god, Doki Doki Literature Club is a great way of telling the story. But I think that was a really good email. And what was the name of that book? The space opera thing?
It doesn't say.
Let us know
in the chat, innit?
How did I forget? Nier Automata and just the original Nier. That tells a story in a very interesting way.
I've installed Nier Automata.
Absolutely.
Where it tells it through gameplay mechanics as well and stuff like that. And going even far back, Drakengard 1, which is technically the start of like the entire Nier franchise, and that back on the PS2.
Same people, right?
It's Yoko Taro, and that tells its story through the game mechanics, because when you play in the game, a slight spoiler, I guess, for a PS2 game from 2003 or whatever, or 4. So the gameplay is like a really basic like Dynasty Warriors clone. We just like slaughtering dozens of people, but then it's revealed like towards the end of the game that the character you're playing as is actually the villain, and he enjoys a bit of mass murder, and it puts a whole new spin on the story of the game.
Don't we all? We got for a rare treat for the audio and VOD listeners. I'll read out the 3 from chat, actually. Observer, Hellblade, and Tacoma. So there's some more entries in it. Hellblade made some big waves with that, didn't it?
Yeah.
That was.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It kind of lives and dies on how it tells its story, really. So, but
that's what I was saying with the indie games. Like they kind of, it's a very clear kind of purpose to the game.
They're built around the mechanic,
driving it all the way through,
or the gimmick.
Yeah, and
they call it that.
Yeah, and the idea.
Gimmick discredits it, I think. Yeah.
It's the they know that they've got a certain kind of story, and they build the whole game around the way that's told, rather than kind of making a bloody whatever kind of making an action adventure game that's about mental health, mental illness, or whatever. As is the case in Hellblade, they build the game around telling the story rather than kind of building a game and trying to tell the story on top of it.
Yeah, because if you want to win, you can make a game better or make a game different. If you're going to make a game, you have to have like a lot of money and a lot of dev team. So you got to go different after. Yeah,
exactly. But there's it's very like that indie stuff has really trickled through into mainstream big style. Like like God of War and things. That's very brave what it's trying to do, and in some ways and stuff. It's not just indie games that are trying to do cool stuff and building stuff around. And is Hellblade even indie? I don't know. It's difficult to
exactly. Yeah. It's
Double A is what they wanted to be called, wasn't it?
Were they the people that?
Yeah, they were the ones who like. I think they coin Double A. I think
they certainly advocated it, didn't they? Yeah.
Right. Cool.
But I love that necessity for indie games to be different has created so many great ideas and shit like that. So that's cool.
Yeah. Right, nice one. If you want to send us an email, remember the address is dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Thanks, Fletcher, for that one. Should we do the new games then?
Yeah.
You know what? We best add, yeah.
So, XCOM Chimera Squad is out on PC on April 24th. 24th. What number is that?
24th. Yeah.
Which is...
That's at Colin Firth.
Which is Friday, so that's pretty cool. And out on the same day is Trials of Mana, which is on PC, Switch, and PS4. What's this, guys?
It is.
I think I might get it.
Oh, that's interesting to hear. So it's a remake of Trials of Mana, which is a SNES RPG, which didn't actually come out in the West until last year, I think, when it got a surprise release on the Switch as part of the collection of Mana.
Yeah.
Square Enix RPG it is. And yeah, this is just a full 3D remake of it. Original was top-down, 16-bit sprites. This has got full 3D models and all that. And if you're curious about it, there's a good, lengthy demo that you can try and carry over your save data if you do decide to get the full game.
Yeah, cool. So you played that?
The demo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played the demo. It was decent, like, I might get it.
What kind of how does it play? Like, is it all sort of
bit hack and
give me a close comparison.
It's a bit hack and slash, I guess.
Cool.
Sort of like combat is like Zelda Wind Waker, I guess. Like that sort of 3D era of Zelda, not like Breath of the Wild, like Ocarina of Time type combat, I guess.
Yeah. The good Zelda.
Yeah. But
sorry.
But Trials of Mana is more. Yeah, it's more RPG driven than Zelda. It's got stats and gear and spells and MP and all that, rather than just pure action adventure. It's more of the RPG side.
Sweet. Not a bad week then between those two, really.
And we got ITTA that I spoke about, just for the reason I spoke about it, is also... I guess we should probably mention that. And, hang on a minute, there's one more, isn't there? Oh, were you done, Michael? Were you reading out more?
Done. What else you got?
Gears Tactics, right? Isn't that out?
Is it?
I think it is out this week, which is a whopping 60 quid, or it's on Game Pass.
Game Pass, isn't it?
It comes... Oh, no. It comes out on the...
Week after? Maybe?
28th, so forget about that. All right, forget I said anything.
Just leave me to it, yeah? Jesus.
All right.
I'm looking forward to Gears Tactics. I'm looking forward to it. Gears Tactics is so strange because it's just... it just doesn't sound like anything, does it really?
Exactly. It's one of them buried in the 50 games that Xbox announce every E3. Yeah. It's just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I read a couple of kind of impressions, hands-on stuff. Shows how powerful that stuff is, because I read it and I was like, that sounds okay, actually. That sounds really interesting. And they're doing what, Firaxis are so good at, and trying to think of, trying to evolve it and trying to add complexity to it and make it fit Gears of War as well, which is important. It's got to be its own thing, hasn't it? You can't just you can't be fucking just making XCOM again. You got to make a Gears of War tactics game, because that's what it's called. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have a look at that. Well, like you said, it's on Game Pass, so
yeah, and
That was
I don't know why I put it. Yeah, so if XCOM's not doing it for you, at least you got Gears Tactics to look out for.
Exactly. Right, nice one, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for actually contributing this time as well. Like really some stuff that made it into the actual podcast in the Twitch chat.
There we go.
A moment, wasn't it?
So yeah. If you are interested in watching a Twitch chat and you don't know, you follow us on Twitter at Hey Special Moves, where you can see all the latest and greatest from us. But we do stream on. It's like a Sunday, 2 p.m. British time. We're streaming lately because of the whole quarantine thing. And in case you're an international human being, Earthling, as I said earlier, the UK's extension of lockdown has been pushed to another 3 weeks, so we've got at least another 3 or 4 of these on the way, and I've got a sneaking suspicion it's going to be a lot more than that, but we'll have to see, won't we? But it's we're here on a Sunday at 2 p.m. where we can ignore you in person.
Yeah, if you like, if you're into that sort of thing. Maybe we could offer some more Twitch mod positions. Who knows? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. See you soon.